Okay, so our last video is dealing with the actual process of polishing concrete. Basic definition of a polished concrete floor is a floor that's been cut with a diamond, it's been densified, and then brought to at least a 400 grit shine. That's the basic definition of polished concrete. So we're going to go over the steps to get that done. But what we find is that most contractors are not going to do exactly what I say, because contractors find their own way. They start with this basic idea and then they adjust it to how they like to work and the different tooling they like to use when they want to transition between metal bonds and resin bonds, as well as the concrete is different in just all different parts of the country, and so it dictates a lot of times how the process that you use. If you want a concrete finish that looks like a Costco, that you see the salt and pepper, or you see a little bit of aggregate, what you would do then is you'd start with a metal bond diamond, a 40 grit diamond. Try not to be any more aggressive, it leaves too deep of scratches. And what's really important with this cut is that you go north and south, nice and slow, get a nice even cut, and then you want to go east and west. You want to cross hatch with these diamonds, and that way you don't end up with streaks at the end of your job. So you go north and south, east and west with a 40 grit diamond. Then you would jump up, you do the same thing with an 80 grit diamond, nice and slow, north and south, east and west. And then tradition says you go to your 150 grit diamond, and you would do that before transitioning to your resin bond diamonds. Although a lot of guys are skipping the 150 grit anymore, they're going to a transition diamond, like a 50 grit transition diamond. We've got those in our Series 1 ice shines. Really a nice diamond. Takes out those fine scratches really nice and sets it up for the resin polishing process. And so after that, it's just as simple as going from your 50s to your 100s, your 200s, your 400s, 800s, and then 1500 and 3000 should you choose to go that high. What you'd usually want to do, most densifier manufacturers are going to tell you to densify at either 100 or 200. So in the process, you'll densify at this point 100 or 200. That's also the point where you would dye the floor if you're going to dye the floor in the process as well. So you get that part of it done, and then you hit the floor with your 400. And as mentioned earlier, if you want, you can stop at 400. That gives you a nice looking matte finish. A lot of customers really like that finish. Nice little matte finish. Or you can continue on to get a higher reflection. And actually, between 400 and 800 is the biggest change I see in polishing concrete. It goes from that matte finish to a true reflection. Now with an 800, you can actually see the lights being clearly reflected in the concrete floor. And then it's just a matter of how reflective you want that floor to be. You can go to 1500 or even 3000 to give it that, it looks like wet concrete look. It's an amazing finish. So that's the process. What you want to do at the end when you've finished is you want to make sure that you seal and then burnish with a propane burnisher the floor afterwards. In fact, some densifiers require you to burnish afterwards to pop that final shine. So that's the basic process. We also have videos, if you want to get into more in-depth into densifying, what densifier does, why it's so important to densify, as well as what happens at the end after you've walked away from the concrete floor that you should be aware of, actually that the end user should be aware of. We have videos that deal with that as well. And as always, I encourage you to go to bartellglobal.com. Click on the content hub, and there's a lot of videos dealing with the diamond grinding process and our diamonds in particular.